The Tale of Locker 22, Season 2, Episode 3 of Are You Afraid of the Dark? A story that takes place in a high school and features protagonists that are, well, in high school, so older than the usual 12 or 13-year-olds that we usually get on this series. And I've been noticing they've been doing this as the episodes progress. In the first season, most of the kids were around 12 or 13. Now we get the 16, 17-year-olds. And this story is told by you-know-who. It's Kristen, and this time she's decked out in some hippie gear of dressing up as one of the characters from the story. And this is a running gag. It starts with the Midnight Society guessing what she's going to show up dressed as for this story. Last time she was dressed as a prom queen, and for the Tale of the Final Wish she was dressed up as a fairy tale princess. This time she's a grooving chick from the 60s. And the best part about this episode is when they do flashbacks to the 60s. Other than that, it's an average episode, but man, those parts are so funny. So we get our main character, Julie DeFox, who is a foreign exchange student from France. She's played by Carrie Elkin, and she's what's known as a French Canadian. Yes, those do exist. In fact, there's lots of them. And she's still acting in movies today. Her last credit was in 2021 in Patrick Sonquille Présentante. She was also in Les Nubes and Fugaces. Definitely pronounced those right. She's so French Canadian, she's actually starring in French films. And she's been assigned Locker 22, which we learned later was the locker of a hippie chick, Candy Warren, who ended up passing away prematurely. And while this isn't a very scary episode, it's more on the goofy side. We do see the ghost of Candy Warren that appears at this locker and tries to scare Julie DeFox, but maybe this ghost is trying to tell her something. Maybe she's trying to get her to go back into the past and save her. And we get a lot of characters in this one. Some episodes only feature a cast of 4 or 5 people, but anytime that they shoot it in a high school, they use a lot of extras from this high school to fill in the background. In fact, they're using the same high school that they used in the episode, The Tale of the Sorcerer's Apprentice, and it's quite apparent since some of the same extras are the same, and obviously the hallways and back rooms are the same. I do think they waste a little too much time before getting to the ending with Candy Warren. They're trying to build up her character, so they have her be bullied by these 2 kids, Fritz and Donnie, and they have a food fight in the cafeteria. This seems really unnecessary, but they like throwing in stories about bullies. I guess every kid can relate to it to a certain extent, but why are 2 guys bullying a girl? It doesn't usually happen that much. The food fight comes off as, well, very 90s and a bit corny. This episode does redeem itself towards the later third of the episode. She gets transported back into the 60s, and it's hilarious. People are going around saying, things are groovy, things are tubular. They make it clear that it's 1968, even throwing references out to the Beatles' White Album.
Those beats are so far out. Moon dance. This neck. Cool.
Her friend Chris tells her that there's a legend going around that a ghost is haunting these halls. They find a beaded necklace and a flower sticker that might have belonged to the hippie Candy Warren herself who passed away. Her and Chris realize that by wearing this necklace, it allows them to go back in time to 1968. But they still don't know why this keeps happening to them. What are they supposed to do in 1968? So they do some sleuthing and go through the school's records department. Well, of course they had computers back then. This is a common trope with episodes where kids go to the library or they go into the principal's office and start going through the files, and I think it is more effective than what would be happening now, which is where they would be going online and just Googling it or looking it up on their phone. Something about going through old newspaper clippings to solve the secret that is more effective than just looking it up on your phone. So they find out that Locker 22 did belong to Candy Warren, and the teacher tells her that he's worked at this school for more than 30 years, and he did know Candy Warren, and she died from an accident that happened exactly on these school grounds. A chemistry accident where she lit a Bunsen burner and ended up exploding and killing her, and setting fire to the entire chemistry lab. I think it's reasons like this that if any kids take chemistry now, it's very subdued. There's almost no chance of you exploding anything. I was actually nervous in high school when I was first taking chemistry. I was like, oh, I've seen movies about this. We're going to light something on fire and it's going to turn into a giant flame. Then we're going to throw some ashes on it. It's going to make a huge blue explosion. It's like, no, it was nothing like that. We lit nothing on fire. We mixed a few chemicals and called it a day. We were also going to dissect a frog too, but the school decided to shut it down. So I guess I missed the good old days of dissecting frogs and actually having dangerous chemistry sets. Julia uses this necklace to go back into the past, and then Candy Warren warns her friend Chris that Julie's gone back in the past and he has to go save her. So at the last moment, he's able to stop her from doing this chemistry experiment. And what ends up happening is a nice ending. Because they went back into the past, 1968, and Candy Warren never died, because he was able to stop this chemistry explosion, Candy Warren herself becomes one of the teachers when they go back into the future of 1993, and they get to meet Candy Warren, since they saved her in the past, so that means she became a teacher, and she never died. It's a nice ending. But there's a little too much fat in this episode. They could have cleaned it up a little bit. And please, give us more 60s talk. That was the best part. You only get a couple minutes of it. But it all wraps together very nicely. It was one of the episodes that actually deals with the very real reality of death. A lot of times they don't use the term die or killed, but it's very clear here that Candy Warren was killed by this chemistry accident until they went back into the past and stopped it. Hopefully they didn't throw anything else into flux by going into the past. But overall, Locker 22 is a average episode, and this is definitely one that's not going to make any top 10s. It is worth watching for some of the groovy lingo, and for the nice ending, but not for the bullies or the food fight. Candy Warren, the hippie girl, was played by Jennifer Irwin, who was another person that had a great career. Wow, these kids are really going places in this episode. She was in Blues Brothers 2000, the SNL movie Superstar, and is still acting to this day. So, some fun facts. This was the first episode where none of the cast members appear in any other episodes. They like reusing the cast for other episodes because it's in Canada. They have a very small cast to deal with. And a fun trivia that I never would have caught. They have a picture of this locker record chart. And some of the names are references to people who worked on the show. David Winning, the director of this episode. Shauna Patterson, the assistant director. Lana Sherman, post-production manager. Wouldn't that be fun if you're part of a series? You could just write your name on the wall. I would totally do that. Then it mentions that they talk about the White Album of the Beatles, and it was filmed in the same school as Tale of the Sorcerer's Apprentice. We already went over that. So, next up is The Tale of the 13th Floor. One I do remember seeing back in the day, and I remember it scaring me. Will it still be scary when I rewatch it? Yeah, I have a feeling it will be. I remember this one being pretty trippy, and it reminded me a lot of the second episode, with a bit of a carnival setting. So check out our playlist for the other series that we've covered. Monsters, Fear Itself, Tales from the Dark Side, Cowboy Bebop, Pet Shop of Horrors, Mystery Science Theater 3000, Black Mirror, and of course, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Thanks.